Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm showing you how to create this cool toned makeup look. Starting off with foundation, I'm using this Yves Saint Laurent All Hours foundation, and this claims to be a luminous matte finish, which kind of confuses me, but essentially it is a satin finish. I'm applying a thin layer of this all over my face. I would say this is a medium coverage foundation, but I'm just applying it in a very thin layer, basically just to even out my skin tone. This foundation is actually a little bit warmer than I would have liked it, but that's okay, we made it work. And I'm just blending that out with my Hourglass foundation brush, which is my favorite foundation brush ever. I'm obsessed with this brush. For concealer, I'm using the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. This concealer is one of my favorite concealers because it is so high coverage, yet so lightweight at the same time. It feels like nothing on my skin, but it fully covers everything completely. It covers my under eye circles. I love it for under the eyes. I also use it in the center of my face for brightening, as well as on top of any blemishes or discoloration or redness that I might have. It really just does the job. This is a fantastic concealer. I like to blend that concealer out using a beauty blender, either that or I'll use my Hourglass concealer brush, which is also another one of my favorite brushes ever. I just find this gives a very flawless and airbrush appearance to the skin, and again, just does this without looking heavy. I also just take any extras on my eyelid to cover up any discoloration. Next up, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm Face Palette, and I am using the lightest shade in this palette for contour. I chose this because it has a cool undertone, and specifically for this cool toned makeup look, I really wanted the contour to be nice and cool so it looked like a natural shadow on the face. It just gives nice, natural looking definition. To prime my lids, I'm using the Kaleidos Tone Activator Eye Primer, and I love this primer for a lot of reasons. Shadow applies so beautifully on top, it applies very vibrant and true to tone. It also has a tint, so it covers up any discoloration I have on my lids, and it also just makes my shadows last a long time throughout the day, so this is a go-to when I'm wearing heavier eye makeup. For eyeshadow, I'm going in with the Jaclyn Cosmetics Luxe Legacy palette. This is an absolutely gorgeous palette. It has warm tones, but it has a lot of really beautiful cool tones as well. So I'm going in with a light taupey kind of gray color. I'm using a light hand and this fluffy brush and windshield wiper motions just to really diffuse and melt that color into my crease. This is going to give us a little bit of a map for where we're going to apply shadows later on. Next, I'm going in with a bit of a deeper gray color, and I'm actually going to be focusing this on the outer corner of my eye. I'm really mainly packing that on the outer V shape, and this doesn't need to be perfect right away. You really just want to get a good concentration of that color on the outer portion of your eye. Typically for looks like this, I do like my outer corners to be the deepest part of the eye just because it gives a very feline and lifted look. Once I'm happy with that, I do take a clean blending brush and just run that all along the edges of that color to melt it in with that crease color I applied earlier. This is going to give us a really seamless smoky effect. Next in, I'm going with this Kaleidos Black Jasmine palette. This is a beautiful, cool toned palette with grays and blacks, which is really different than what I typically gravitate to. However, I'm applying the lightest gray shade all over my mobile lid. I really feel like this sort of tied the look together and gave it that truly cool toned, smoky eye feel. I'm just packing that shade all along my lid using a dense brush, and I'm just taking my time to make sure I get a really nice and even application. This is definitely new for me. I don't wear grays very often, but I kind of like it. I don't know, what do you guys think? For liner, I'm using this Urban Decay 24-Hour Inks liner, and this is not a black liner, it's actually a very dark gray. And what I like about this is it actually has a very unique finish. It has tiny little glitters throughout it, and so it's a great alternative to black. The eyes are mostly matte, and I wanted a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of texture, so I thought this was a really great and subtle way to do that. I'm kind of just following the shape of the eyeshadow we applied earlier, lifting that wing again to just accentuate the feline shape. I'm also hugging it pretty close to my lash line and not making this too thick. For my lower lash line, I'm just taking that initial crease color we used and swiping it all along my lower lash line. And then right on the very outermost corner of my lower lash line, I'm taking that deeper gray color and just blending that into the outer V of my eye. Using this Sweet Beauty Satin Kohl Eye Pencil, I'm actually applying this to my lower waterline. I just feel like sometimes with heavier eye makeups, it can kind of close off smaller eyes, which I have smaller eyes. And so doing this really opens up the eyes in a beautiful and subtle way. This is my go-to waterline pencil for when I want really bright looking eyes. Next, I'm using the PatMcGrath Fetish Eyes Mascara. This is a very intense, dramatic mascara. This mascara gives tons and tons of volume, and so I'm just applying one coat of that to the top and bottom lashes. Usually I skip bottom lash mascara, but with a smoky eye look, I just feel like you gotta do it. The bottom lash mascara really just ties the look all together, and I feel like it gives a bit more of a sultry effect to the eye. For blush, I'm using this Jaclyn Cosmetics Plush Blush in the shade Plush Ballet. This is a very light, pale, cool pink tone, and this looks absolutely gorgeous on fair skin tones. I love this blush for when I'm doing a bit heavier of an eye makeup look, and I don't want the rest of the face to distract from that, but I still want a little something because, as you guys know, I can't go without blush. So this is a really good one for that. It's very subtle, but it still gives the cheeks a nice blushed look. It's very wearable and blendable, and it has a really nice matte finish as well. I'm going on top with a powder blush. This one is by Flower Nose, and how cute is this packaging? It is so beautiful and very intricate and detailed. Even the inside of the blush is fully embossed, and it's just a work of art. But really, I chose this blush for the tone. It's a beautiful, cool toned pink, and it just gives the most beautiful, soft airbrushed finish to the cheeks. This was my first time trying this blush, and I actually really loved it, especially layered on top of that Jaclyn blush. I just think this combo is so beautiful and complements the look really well. To set my under eyes, as always, I'm going in with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I just find this is the best powder for brightening and setting the under eyes. It really makes a huge difference, and I also feel like it sets my concealer into place so well. My concealer creases way less when I use this powder. It's very noticeable. This is my favorite under eye setting powder. For lip liner, I'm using the Makeup Forever Artist Color Pencil in the shade Anywhere Caffeine, and this is such a beautiful, cool toned brown. It's very wearable, kind of gives you that your lips but better look. I'm mainly focusing this on my lower lip right in the center, as well as my Cupid's bow, just to get a bit of an overlined, pouty look. For lipstick, I'm using this matte satin lipstick in the shade Shrimpton, and I'm so sorry, you guys. I think this is discontinued. It's so beautiful though. However, I will say it is very similar to MAC Myth, so if you have that one, or if you want a really good pale nude lipstick, MAC Myth is wonderful. For lip gloss, I'm using this Hourglass Volumizing Lip Gloss. I really didn't want to change the lip color. I was really happy with that pale nude shade, so I opted for this one. This is a clear gloss with very subtle, delicate glitter throughout it, and it just looks so beautiful, and it really does a good job of plumping the lips and smoothing out those lines. And that is it for today's look. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and if you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell notification. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.